I'm Taryn. I'm an abstract watercolor painter and I live in Silicon Valley.
Hi, Taryn, and I am Sieglinde, and I am also an abstract artist working in painting and large-scale photo-based prints, and I also live in Silicon Valley, California. And it is our pleasure to welcome you to Art Sparks with Taryn and Sieglinde, short burst of conversations about art. And so today, our special guest in the hot seat is Taryn herself, and I am going to interview her about her journey into art. We're gonna take a little peek into her artist mind. We're gonna find out all her secrets. Are you ready, Taryn?
I am ready. So see guys, we're practicing, okay? We're getting ready for it. All right, come on, go.
Okay, girl, question number one, and the one that's on everybody's mind. Why on earth or when did you decide to be an artist? How did you know that is what you had to do?
Okay, well, that's the question. Well, when do I decide to be an artist? That was, see, for me, it was not something like, oh, I'm going to be an architect, I'm going to do it. No, for me, it was gradual. I've been drawing since I was really young. I know, like a lot of artists. But I have this idea, like a lot of artists, that you cannot make a living as an artist. So I study fashion and I study photography. And actually, I work as a fashion designer. And I realized that I was not into fashion.
You were not?
No, I didn't.
Why did you decide to study it then?
Because I love the human figure. That's the thing I love. I love people, and I love the human figure. So is it okay? It's a great way of painting and drawing the human figure. So why not? But okay, I never get to the point that you have to make clothes. And I finished the whole thing and I made my own clothes and I learned how to sew.
Really?
Yes, but I met people that are really passionate about it. And that's when I realized, I'm not one of those. So after finishing and working, I said, no, I moved to something else. And I went to photography. 2 years, photography. And that's when I met people that are passionate about photography. And I learned the whole thing, like how I got into, and actually back then it was in the darkroom, you have to develop your own film and you have to paint your own, in the darkroom. And if it's color, it's totally in black and white, it's totally dark.
Yeah, I know.
I was in the dark room, and it's fun. It's really, really a lot of fun. But you have to like it. All right. So what happened is I always liked that, but I was not a photographer. I was like, no. So what happened is when I married and moved abroad, I couldn't work.
Oh my God, the same here.
I'm sorry, but yes, I don't want to copy your story, my friend, I don't. But it happens to me. I couldn't work. So thinking, why not do what I like? And that's when I started painting. And then gradually, little by little, I started thinking, okay, I want to start to paint. And then I want to make a little bit, make better, and I will be better, make better pieces. And then that's little by little, I started getting into more professional, like getting into shows, competitions, and I don't know. I started like getting into the art world. And that's when I said, okay. And also, when my kids were really young, that was the thing that really happened that really struck me. Is when my kids were really young, I didn't paint much because I didn't have the time. With a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. That my kid was in kindergarten, and the teacher was said, okay, somebody can help me. And I was like, can I paint your windows, please? Whatever, I don't care. I can come every few months to paint your windows, just because I need it. I learned that I need to be able to be creative. I need to get my hands dirty. That's when I realized, wow, yes, I really have it in me that, you know something? I have to do it.
That's true. And that urge of like, I can't be without is like very common among artists. And it's so interesting to learn from you that it also shows you in a way.
And I think it's something that comes back. Even if you leave it, it comes back again. And it comes back again. And it comes back again.
True.
And it's like, okay, you will look for anything to be able to be creative.
That's true.
When you take all you have the time and your materials, you will look for something else and the time that you have to be able to do it.
Right.
That's what I learned. Yes.
Oh, wow. I'm struck. I didn't know how similar our stories were. I'm like, wow.
And I was going to tell you, yes. When you were talking that time, I was like, oh. Same, different.
So you say, I just have to create, but I also heard you say, I'm really passionate about people and about the human body. So what inspires you? Like today, right? You've evolved to a more professional level. So what inspires you today or to create your work? Or how did that evolve from I just have to be creative to what you do today?
Okay, so I think that a lot of artists, you have to find yourself and find what you like, like anybody else.
Right.
Some people like to paint plein air. For me, I have always loved people. I love the human figure a lot. I love the wrinkles of the people because it's part of a story. I love the whole thing that you can find so much for the way they dress, on the way they stand, for the way they do. So you can find so much details in a person about themselves and their story. That is part of it. I wanted to bring it onto my paintings. I want the viewer to discover the people as well. So in one respect, it comes fashion as well, because I can read from the clothes how they are and what they are. So I love to put the clothes as well. I like to put the shoes, and I like to put the jackets, and I like to put, because it tells also part of a story of a person. I don't know, funny. If you look closer to the clothes, you can figure it out, and you can understand a lot about the person. Don't ask me. Yes, I think that's part of the ingredients that I have in my life, that the fashion comes in there. It's not very obvious, but it's in there, which I don't like to be obvious either. So
that's so interesting that even thought that fashion was not the right place for you, that in the end it's now feeding into your work, right? But explain to people, because your work is abstract and yet you're talking about the human figure and how wrinkles and clothes tell a story. So how do you combine the two in a way that makes sense to you?
Well, see, that's the thing. I like to do people, but I don't. Okay, I'm a rebel.
No kidding.
I'm a rebel. I don't like to be obvious. And I'm a rebel in a way that first I want to, I have always been, for me, it's easy for me to paint. So first I have to learn all the sketches, all the mediums. And once I get to the mediums, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to do the hardest, watercolor. And I'm going to do the hardest subject is portrait. And now I'm going to chop the portrait, and I'm going to chop the the people into pieces. That's me.
Ooh.
I know. I do an abstract, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to chop the head off. And I do. And I'm going to chop, because I wanted not to be obvious, to look at the details.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So we're talking details of the human body, and we're talking the details telling a story and making it and embodying it into an abstract piece. So is that what makes you different, or what do you think makes you different or makes your work different?
Well, see, I'm a rebel in putting people in my, putting people but in pieces. But I'm also a rebel in my medium. So I like watercolor because of a movement. But I don't want it to be obvious, and I want to be traditional, and I don't want to be like any regular watercolor painter. Okay, so when you say watercolor, you're gonna think of bright colors. Nah, for me, my gray is my color. Well,
usually when we think of watercolors, we think beautiful landscapes and flowers, but that's not you, huh?
That's not me. That's my rebel part of it. Like, no, I want to do the watercolor. Like, I want the viewer to see another type of watercolor, and actually open the watercolor world to another way of applying and seeing at them. for the viewers to see and for other artists to apply. Like, be different, because I think we have very close mind about the watercolor. So in my respect, in what I'm different is in my medium and in my technique, and also in what I want to say, in my meaning. So it's a lot of different parts together that makes my whole paintings.
So you're really bringing an innovative streak to a very traditional medium and a very traditional subject matter, and you are totally making it your own, and pushing those boundaries out of what we typically understand in figurative and watercolor artwork.
Yes.
Wow, so impressive.
Thank you.
And then the other question I wanted to ask is, so just a few months ago, I had an opportunity to, very COVID safe, hop into your studio real quick, and I saw like what your mood boards. They were like little collages on the wall. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that was so interesting. You explained to me that is your starting point, and but it was such an interesting part of your process.
Well, the thing is, I'm a planner. All right. So when I start a series, I have to have first I do it for an idea. So once I have an idea, then I said, okay, how I'm gonna put it all together. So I start doing my sketches of a person, and then I always have geometric shapes, because the textures are so rich and so organic and like natural that I need in structure. So my rectangles and my lines are the structure for all the texture that I have. It's because I need a balance with all that texture for me. I need structure. So I do my sketch of a person, I put my rectangles, I also do my value sketch. So see, 1, 2, 3, and my value sketch is like my bones, where when I know where it's gonna be going, the eye is gonna move around the painting. And once I have that one, then I move to the mood. What mood do I want? In order to do what mood do I want is what colors I'm gonna do. And that's when I put my palette in it. So that's when I said, okay, what palette I'm gonna use for this painting?
Palettes, like color palettes?
Yeah. What color palette is it gonna be? A warm one or is it gonna be a cool one? And I'm usually go for cools. Yes. I'm a happy person who loves cool colors. All right, my palette is very like fall type of palettes. Like the yellow has to be like burned yellow. Also, my red is gonna be like burgundy, something like that. And those are my reds. My red's like the burnt red, and my yellow is burnt red.
So it's also
yellow.
very deep colors. I feel like it's very sophisticated and colors with substance, right? That's how I resonate with those colors. They're not flimsy, and not where people look at your work, oh, such pretty colors. Like there's much more to it than pretty colors, right?
Yes.
So with the color palette, you're dissecting people and your geometry and how you innovate watercolor techniques. What do you like best about what you do? And maybe it's not even technical. Maybe what is it that really lights you up in all that you do?
Well, I don't write very well. I think I do it through my paintings. So what I like the best is be able to express what I want to say, and it's usually something deep. So what I like best is being able to say my what I want to say, like what I want to express in my paintings, what I want to be subtle as well. So that's what I think I like, is that each one of it will say something really important and deep about myself.
Interesting. So you use your paintings to communicate.
Yes,
right?
That's what,
like without words, right? And it's an invitation to a meaning, because you stay subtle. You're not just like bombarding people with like, here's what I'm talking about. And it's about you. So, well, actually, let me make it simple. What are you trying to say while you communicate in these paintings? What is the message that you subtly but clearly and deeply communicate with the viewers?
What I think, what I want the viewers to understand, and because all is based on people, is that we are not alone. We're surrounded by people. We don't see them. We just have to go closer to discover them. And actually, little by little, you know that we're not so different and you're not so disconnected from them. So it's just to connect with other people, to be able to tell, you know something, look around you. We're full of people and we just have to discover them.
Beautiful.
And connect with them. That's what I want to put in on my paintings. Like here I'm doing this because I want you to look at this, and then I look at this. But the main thing is connect people to my paintings.
That's beautiful. And a few weeks ago, I read one of your social media posts where you say that what we see in your paintings and the way we connect and the invitation to connect that you just explained to us, but it also depends on how we're feeling in the moment or how our own experiences. I thought that was such an interesting point of view as an extra layer to your work. Can you talk a little bit about that too?
But so in that series, it is something that you have to know yourself, like how are you feeling, and you'll see that whatever you're feeling is gonna influence how you're gonna see outside. So you won't see the same thing when you're happy than when you're sad or when you're mad. So it's finding yourself, how you feel, and then we see, okay, how you're gonna see the outside. So it's an invitation to see, okay, how you see from inside and how you're gonna notice what is outside, depending on the mood, depending on your emotions. So it's two ways of looking at it.
It's a lot of self-awareness.
It's self-awareness, yeah, which is, sometimes we need, I think, or maybe for me, it's something that is really important for me. And in my other paintings, you're gonna be and I didn't notice it's true, because in my next one is about people seeing their phones, being in their phones all the time. When I was traveling before COVID, I was taking photos, and you know how many people are wearing their phones? So I was taking photos and I took so many. I went to Madrid and I saw so many. So it was international. And that was my series. I still have to figure out the title of a series. But I was thinking, like, what we're thinking, like, we just, instead of really enjoying the place and the moment, we were just in the phone, just browsing around. So it's also part of self-reflect, like, you know something? No, look up, enjoy the surroundings, enjoy the people around you, enjoy the world around you. So that's also part of, like, deep inside of you, like, okay, what you can learn from these so you can live better life, you know. So
that's true, because I even noticed of myself, there was a time that I would always run around with my camera, whether it was the phone or a real camera, and at one point I felt so disconnected from everything and everyone, because I felt I was experiencing life through that little viewer. And then I felt removed from the moment and from the experience. So now, of course, I don't have enough photos of my life or my family, my kids, but it's because I want to experience it in the moment, not from behind the screen. So I can't wait to see how you translate that in your artwork.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that's what I like about art, is that you can say whatever is important to you through art. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. I don't mind. Sometimes they get something totally different and it makes it different in their life. Good for me and good for them, you know? So, yes.
Well, sometimes they see something different, but that goes back to the whole point that depending on where they come from, that's what they will get out of the work, right?
And I love that about abstract, about people being able to take whatever they want or whatever they can, or whatever the stories are into the painting.
Whatever is meaning for them in that moment, right? I love that too.
It's like
so one last question. We're in this world where everything now is driven by why do you do what you do? So why is that message so important for you that you focus your artwork on sharing it with the world?
Well, see, one is I want the people to connect with people, and I want people to be more deep. That's the thing I wanted to pass along. If it was something that I want to pass it along to people that are that see my paintings, is that the connection is something deep inside of them. I don't do pretty pictures. All right, I'm in the middle between too drastic but not drastic enough in the art world. That's me. I'm in the middle. So what I want from my painting is not something that, oh, it looks nice. I want them to have a rich experience, not just from looking at it, but also deep inside of it. That's, I think if you ask if you ask me as an artist, is yes, have something that they enjoy, but they have a deep meaning that enriched their lives. So nice, eh?
Yeah, that is such a beautiful invitation. You know, it's that invitation, like, enjoy Taryn's work, but it's like you have permission to go deeper.
Yes,
it's not surface level, like, do you like it or not? It's like you're inviting them to go deeper within themselves, or maybe to connect with you or your message or the subject matter. That is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any last words of wisdom that you would like to share about?
I think I share my fair share.
Yeah, but I'm so mesmerized by it. This is like, I don't want this to end, but you know, we want to be respectful of people's time. But
yes. But if you have any questions, yes, feel free to. We put the link of we always put the link of our emails in our websites.
Yes, they're there to be found. And then, of course, I hope you enjoyed the images that we interspersed in this video of Taryn's work. And so, thank you for being with us. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think would enjoy this. And leave us a comment below. What resonated most with what you just heard about Taryn's artwork and process and message? Or ask us a question about Taryn's work or about art in general that we can tackle in the next episode. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.